Hi, I'm Tim, and I'm here to answer two questions. Am I going to tell you everything that I read in November? Yes. Is this video a little bit late? Also, yes. So I read 10 books in November, which I'm very pleased with. Read and listened to, and includes some books I read with the kids and things like that. So the first thing I listened to was The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. So this is the sixth and also the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. This is a prequel. This is how you see Narnia get created. It answers lots of questions about the creation of Narnia, which I did not have. The villain was good, and I thought it was interesting. It was fine for me. I gave it 3 stars. The next thing was a book I read on the Open Archive on my phone, which was The Grey King by Susan Cooper. This is book 4 in the Dark is Rising series, the penultimate book. This, we follow Will Stanton, who is one of the old ones, and he goes to Wales for reasons and finds there's a fire. He meets a boy called Bran, who is an albino. There's lots of weird magic. The dark is trying to come, and they're trying to wake the Grey King, who I think lives in the mountain. I also gave this one 3 stars because it was very vague. I didn't really know what was going on a lot of the time, and very Welsh, very much set in Wales, and I find there's two groups of characters. There's the Drew children and Will Stanton, and I don't find Will Stanton is more interesting, but when you follow him as a protagonist, he's in his own head and he doesn't have anyone to talk to, and he doesn't have anyone to bounce off of. So I just find it harder to read and less enjoyable to read ultimately. I prefer the siblings because they bounce off each other, and then they also notice Will and notice how he's different. So you kind of get that perspective, which I enjoy more. Then I read Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel by A.W. Janther. So this is 2 books in one. The first is a novelization of Hocus Pocus, which I thought was not very good. It was just by the numbers, and actually they did one change, which was they told the Thackeray Binks storyline at the same time as the Max Dennison storyline for like the first third of the story. In the film, the Thackeray Binks bit is just the prologue, and it works better as a prologue. You know what's going to happen. There's no tension, and it's just like you're just going, like, just get that bit out of the way and get to the good stuff. The good stuff is the sequel, which follows these 3 characters, who are Max and Alison's daughter, Poppy, her friend Travis, and her other friend. What's her other friend called? I can't remember now. Poppy, Travis, and I can't remember what her name is now. That's embarrassing. Oh well, it's been a while since I've read this, but I thought the sequel was really good. I'd really recommend reading the sequel. If you pick up this book, don't even bother reading the novelization for the first book, for the first film. Don't. Just read the sequel. So, you have everything that you know from watching the film, basically, and this is completely different to Hocus Pocus 2, and I enjoyed it more. So, that was good. Overall, gave the book 4 stars. Next thing I read was from the library. That's Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Civil War 2. This is 6 issues, and this, again, was mixed for me. It's been a very mixed month so far. I gave this 3 stars. It's probably a little bit harsh. It's probably 4 stars. The thing is that I enjoyed everything that was in this. I just wanted more of it. There was too much going on. Everything was spread too thin. And so I would rather you tell me you have 3 less storylines and deliver them really well. Rather than kind of give me half of everything. I didn't enjoy that as much. Yeah, so 3 stars for that. The next thing I listened to was The Last Battle, the last book in the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This I gave 4 stars through, 4 stars to, put my teeth back in. I gave it 4 stars, but I think it's quite a low 4 stars because I felt very emotional about it. It brought those emotions out to me. We see the end of Narnia. We see the end of these characters, literally the end of these characters, and there were some choices made which I really, really didn't like. Um, so it was well done, and it got emotions out of me. I'm still feeling quite angry about it now. Um, but whoa, what a choice to make at the end there. I'm not going to spoil it, but geez, what a choice. Did not enjoy reading about that. Yeah, let's leave it there. But that I gave that 4 stars because it is one of the better Chronicles of Narnia books. But nothing beats Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe for me. Read Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe. If you only read that, you've read the best of Narnia. Next thing I read was the Dungeon Academy Tourney of Terror by Madeleine Roux and illustrated by Tim Probert. This I gave 3 stars to because I enjoy the characters, but I didn't enjoy the plot as much. And the plot was fine, and it gave there was too much time given to the plot and not enough time given to the characters. Which is the most enjoyable thing in this series for me, anyway. Also, Tourney of Terror. It's because it's about another school, the Waterdeep Dragons coming to the Dungeon Academy for a tournament. But the tournament, I thought it was going to be about the tournament, but it's not. It's just set dressing. The whole what I thought would be a subplot about the Necromancer actually ended up being the plot, and the Tourney of Terror was not even a subplot. It was merely set dressing. It was, hey, there's a tournament happening. Oh no, this then happens at the tournament. That's about it. So I thought it was a bit misnamed, and I wanted more tournament, less other stuff, more characters. But hopefully this ended on a big cliffhanger. So hopefully there's a third one coming because I will definitely read it. Next is a book we read to the kids. Pokemon Showtime. This is book number 6 in these Pokemon books that we've reading. This I really enjoyed. I gave it 4 stars. The kids really liked it. It's about there's a Pokemon talent show, and Ash is a terrible singer, but Pikachu's a pretty good dancer, and they want to put on a talent show. Brock is the star. Brock is the one who has a nice singing voice. He only sings when doing the washing up, and then he can't. He gets stage fright. He can't sing unless. So they make him do washing up on stage, and then he can sing really well, which is really similar to a whole thing in Only Murders in the Building Season 3, which I found quite funny. And Team Rocket in here are brilliant, as usual, and the kids loved it, and I really enjoyed it. It did make me think a little bit about Pokemon contests, especially the ones in Gen 3, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, which is probably my favourite version of that game mechanic. Yeah, super enjoyed that. Really good. Next was another book I read just to my son, and that is The Iron Man by Ted Hughes. This I gave 4 stars to, and it's quite hard to describe this. So The Iron Giant, the film, is based off this, but I haven't seen the film with the voice of Vin Diesel, directed by Brad Bird. But I think I know enough about it just through osmosis in media. This is very different, and it's unsettling and nerve wracking and has moral questions, but also has like a fable feeling to it. The language is really interesting. So my son is in year 2. He's 6 years old, and I think my wife said that they do this in year 3 at school quite a lot. And I do think that in a year's time he would be able to read this himself, because there's a lot of the books. 64 pages, and there are big drawings and things like that. But there's a lot of words in here. But the words, they repeat and repeat, and the vocabulary is very considered, and has a rhythm to it. I really, really like the prose in this, both for young readers and for adults to read. I enjoyed reading it. The story was mental. I was like, what is going on? And the opening is really unsettling, and you don't know why. And it's Oh, I really like this. I think the only thing stopping it from being 5 stars was just it was just really weird. um, yeah, so that was 4 stars for me, and then uh, I read Ready Player Two: The Book as Big as Your Head by Ernest Cline. So this I gave 5 stars to, and this is probably the lowest rated book that I read this month. And I rated it 5 stars because I have bad taste. I really enjoyed this because it shows how I've got a review of it, but it shows how the obsessive personality of a protagonist when they're the underdog is a plus. Something that, they have drive and ambition and you want them to succeed. And then when they do succeed, those positive character traits can become very quickly very negative character traits. And Wade Watts has everything. He has money, he has power, he has influence, he has mastery of the Oasis, this virtual world, and mastery of the real world. But it's not enough because he's so insecure. And I found that really interesting to read about. So I gave that 5 stars. The plot isn't as good, but I still enjoyed it. And even if there were some whole sections that were not, that were things that I didn't really know that much about. A whole section is about pure fictional nostalgia for the characters. So it's not just like, oh, hey, you remember this thing? Hey, 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 and that's why you like it. I still really liked it. It's not as good as Ready Player One, but I think Ready Player One is fantastic. So this is still a 5-star read for me. And then the last book I read was So This Is Love by Elizabeth Lim, the 8th, 9th, whatever book in the Twisted Tale series from Disney. So this is What If Cinderella Never Tried On the Glass Slipper. I really like this cover. They've stopped doing these kind of covers, which is a shame because I do like the gold. I like the foil and I like the smoky background. But yeah, I think Cinderella is great in this. I think the villain's pretty good in this. One of the new characters, Genevieve, is probably my favourite character in the book. And I love how you get the twist straight away. So it's like a new story, but it's still the Cinderella that you know. I really appreciate that. I really like that. So anyway, let's try and stack them all up. Boom. Then put these little ones on top. Ooh. So, mix of big books, little books, and some audiobooks. I think that's everything. Yeah. And there we go. That is November. So let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you liked them, or what you read in November. I would appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye. Get out of my house.